The thing about Chelsea is life is never boring. Hey chaps, welcome back to ProperChels.tv, your one-stop Chelsea news channel. I'm your host, as always, Logan Blue. Now today we get to talk about the match that is happening tonight, which is the Chelsea versus Brighton match. Now, where do we stand on Brighton? Modern Chelsea fans hate them. And I'm not really a modern Chelsea fan. I'm a many years Chelsea fan. So I carry some residual hatred for the likes of Spurs, obviously, Liverpool, because of the ghost goal and all that. But the younger fans watching this will know that Chelsea have spent a small fortune since the new owners took over buying Brighton players. Now, that's all well and good because, Chelsea were in a buying phase, but we've given Brighton far too much money. They have fleeced us, and their fans have got too big for their boots too soon. Now, historically, and I mean in recent history, Brighton have been a team that have scouted brilliantly. So they'd find Caicedo, as an example, when he's a nobody playing a million miles from Europe, and buy him on the cheap, bring him over, develop him for a year or two, and then flog him off to idiots like Chelsea for over £100 million profit. Jesus, that's just insane. But that's the club that Brighton were. And I use the word were because I suspect it is now in past tense when we discuss this particular topic, because Brighton are looking at still doing that ongoing, but recently, as in like the last transfer window, they've gone and spent a shed load, well over £100 million on new players. So they have finally said to themselves, you know what, we've got a huge chunk of cash burning a hole in our pocket, mostly thanks to Chelsea, I might add, but nonetheless, they've got a huge chunk of cash burning a hole in their pocket. And for as long as they can remember, well, certainly in the last 5 odd years, Brighton have been a solid Premiership team. They've been a team in the top half of the table, comfortably in the top half of the table, with aspirations of pushing into Europe, etc. But they've never quite got into the Champions League. So what their owners have done is that they've taken Chelsea's money and they've gone and bought a lot of new players, right? And they got rid of De Zerbi, who no Chelsea fan liked because he mouthed off against Chelsea more than once, right? So they got rid of De Zerbi, but they've got a new coach in, and he's like, 34, something like that? He's like, he's young. Maybe he's even younger than 34, but he's just like, he's the age of an older player, right? Which is insane, but he's got a gig managing a Premiership team. Obviously a very good manager. They are unbeaten this season. So they're one of the few unbeaten teams in the Premier League. So, we can't take them for granted. We can't expect to win this, in any way, shape or form without putting up a fight, putting up a shift. But they've drawn their last 3 games. So while they've got all these new players in, they haven't quite got up to speed. Maybe they're discovering what Chelsea discovered, that, bringing in a lot of great players is all well and good, but that doesn't make them into a great team. That takes time. And like West Ham in our last match, who have also gone and bought very well during the summer, it takes a while for everyone to gel, all the players to gel together. So we're playing a team that's unbeaten, but we're also playing a team that hasn't won in 3 games. So it's glass half full, glass half empty, depending how you view this, right? So we're at home, and we're in the ascendancy as far as our own form is concerned. We've won 10 out of the last 12 points in the Premier League. So nobody's been talking about us, but suddenly, because we're 5th in the league, yeah, maybe they starting to talk about us. And this is the danger for us as a young team, because when we had the Terrys and the Lampards and the Drogbas and the Essiens and the Peter Cechs and the Ashley Coles and the like, when we had that team of seasoned winners in our team, they just like took that pressure on. Fantastic, right? We can handle it. But none of our team has won anything, or hardly anything, maybe in Chilwell. Oh, yes. And Enzo has won the World Cup. There's that minor tournament that countries play every 4 years or something. I don't know how important it is, but he's won that. And the Copa America. Oh, yeah, I know. Okay, so there's a couple of players within our team that are winners. Okay, certainly at a country level in Enzo's case. But that doesn't help them in a league situation, because none of them have won the league. I don't think we've got a single league winner, maybe Chilwell, but apart from him, and he's obviously not going to be starting and probably won't even come off the bench, right? Unless there's an injury to Cucurella. Cucurella? Cucurella. That's Cucurella's younger brother, Cucurella. Yeah, no, we'll sign him from Brighton in a couple of years. Don't worry about that. But yeah, so we're playing a team that's in the ascendancy in their form, in that they're unbeaten, but they haven't won a game for over 3 games. So, maybe they can't finish games off like they would like to, because their team is still gelling. And Brighton are playing a team in Chelsea who are definitely in the ascendancy, right? Because we're on a winning streak. However, we're playing them at home, and our home form is decidedly average. Right? Most of our wins this season have come away from home. And the fans away from home, the Chelsea fans are fantastic. The fans that go to away matches for Chelsea are just like outrageously good. Right? We love them. But there's a lot of what Roy Keane might have described as prawn sandwich fans, to use his idiom, where he described fans of Manchester United being very quiet. The Chelsea fans at home are a bit like that. But I suspect that's to do with the price of tickets, and also it's to do with the fact that we just haven't been playing that well at home. So, the better we play, the more vociferous the fans will be. Right? So it's kind of quite an even match, even though it doesn't necessarily feel in the press as even as it actually is. People are saying that Chelsea, should win this match easily. I do not think that is going to be the case. My prediction will come shortly. But anyway, let's just jump into my team lineup, and I'll show you the team that I think we need to pick in order to win the game today. So here's the team that I picked for us to beat Brighton on the weekend. Now, Sanchez in goal. I'm not a big fan of Sanchez, as you probably know, and you're probably not a big fan of Sanchez either. However, his form at the beginning of the season has been excellent. He's made a lot of saves, and yes, they were saves that you would expect a top-line goalkeeper to make. So, well played. However, when he started last season for us, there were saves he wasn't making, which is why he was dropped. Also, his distribution, which he supposedly is one of his strengths, has been excellent. It's been as advertised. Whereas last season, we just saw him give the ball away needlessly, and sometimes passing to the opposition on the edge of our penalty area, and losing us games. But again, he hasn't done that at the start of this season. So he's saving the shots he needs to save, and he's distributing the ball brilliantly, both long and short. So, yeah, I'm not going to say he's nailed on, but he's certainly, maybe he is as far as Enzo is concerned, but not so much for me. But right about now, it's his position to lose. Talking about nailed on, Cucurella, he had a brilliant end to the season with us last season. Then he had a brilliant Euros with Spain, won the Euros, and set up the winner in the final in one of his rare forays forward. And he started the season brilliantly with us again. So, yeah, he's nailed on. Chilwell's not getting anywhere near him. Maybe Tosin, out left could also do a job. But And unless Cucurella is injured, he's starting for us every single Premier League game. Caldwell as well is another guy who's pretty much nailed on. He's the guy I kind of hope will become the new John Terry, because we need a captain who is actually, on the pitch. Imagine that, Reece James, being on the pitch and being captain at the same time. I know it's not James's fault that his body is letting him down, but, we need a captain that's on the field. And you know that, and I know that. But so Caldwell, I think, is the heir apparent to the captaincy, even more than Enzo, who seems to be the captain at the moment. Now, to partner Caldwell, a bit of a hot take. Well, is it a hot take, though? But I've chosen Adebayo because when he stepped in alongside Caldwell, I find he's been very, very solid, and also a really calming influence, which I really like. And I think your central defenders should be calm. Now, when Fofana has played for us, I think he's been error-prone. And yes, he's coming back from injury and blah, 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 excuse. But he just hasn't been great. He hasn't been awful. So it's not like he's left, huge clangers everywhere so that you drop him because of that. But I just think if we give Caldwell and Adebayo a run together, I think we will stop shipping goals. On the right, Gusto is back, so obviously he gets the nod because apart from James, there's nobody on the right who we trust to be able to defend and also bomb forward and get crosses across to the striker. Caicedo and Fernandes in the centre of midfield. I don't think that's for changing. I know Lavia is back, so I suspect he might come on at about 60 minutes, only because he has been injury prone like Chilwell and like James over recent seasons. So they will be very cautious about his game time, and they will manage his actual time on the field. I would, if Lavia, again, this is a hot take, but if Lavia were fit, like properly, match fit, I would drop Enzo if we were playing a double pivot, 2 6s here and here, okay? But if I had my way, I would actually pick a 3, like a 4-3-3, not a 4-2-1-3, which I've gone for here because that's just what Enzo is going to do. If everyone was fit, I would probably have Caicedo, Fernandes, and Lavia as a 3. That would give us immense control of matches because we have playmakers and we have 2 guys who can get about and shield. Plus, then Cucurella could invert as required. So, but I don't think we're going to do that because we've got a lot of attackers, and Maresca wants to have as many of those on the field as we can. But we've got to have a defensive balance. So, if we're playing a double pivot, it's Caicedo and Fernandes with Lavia coming in as needed, to get some miles in his legs. Then in the 10. I've got Palmer, obviously, because he's going to be the first on the team sheet for us moving forward. He's had a quite quiet opening part of the season by his standards, right? At least by the standards of last season. But what I think it is that last season he was the new kid on the block and he had so much freedom. But now, because he's, we scored all the goals and scored, so many assists, and because everyone has been talking about him, and he's now in England, regular for England, he's marked not out of the game, but he's marked much more closely than he was last season. So his freedom to roam and play those beautiful, balls over the top, sort of Fabregas-esque type balls, he's not getting a chance to do that anywhere near as much because he's either very tightly man-marked or he's double-teamed, right? When he has the ball, 2 people are on him, like they used to do to Eden Hazard. So he's got to learn how to deal with that and still be the Palmer of last season. So, which I suspect he will. And given he's had, by his own recent standards, he's had a so-so start to the season. He's still got 2 goals and 5 assists or whatever it is. So imagine when he starts finding his feet. again, right? Then we'll get, he'll be another 20. Well, I'm not sure he'll get 20 goals this season, but I'd expect him to get at least 15. Okay, non-penalty goals this season. Right, and up front, I've gone for Neto on the left, not Sancho. Sancho has had one fantastic 45-minute game with us, half a match. Then in the next game, he was pretty much invisible and didn't move forward. He passed the ball sideways and back. Okay, mind you, so did Madueke. And I'm still picking him. But yeah, so I'm going for Neto on the left, even though Enzo has said technically it's Madueke and Neto for the right, and it's Mudryk and Sancho on the left. I don't think that matters. I think Neto, he's a left footer, so he can go on the outside and swing the ball in on his left foot. Or he can be on the right and then cut inside, and etc. etc. He's got a half decent right foot as well, Neto. So Neto, Madueke on the wings, and Jackson up front. So it's pretty much a no-brainer. Now, the thing with this match, as I said, is that Brighton have drawn their last 3 games, but they are unbeaten. However, during this season, they've beaten Man United in the league, and they drew away to Arsenal. And Arsenal, the current iteration of the Arsenal team, are very hard to play against. And they went to the Emirates Stadium and they drew 1-1. So, this is a tough nut to crack. And doubly so because Chelsea, we just haven't been very good at home. So my prediction for this match is that possession will be shared. I think it will be kind of like a 55-45, 50-50 kind of possession type game. But I think it'll be close, but I think we're going to win 2-0. I just have a gut feeling that we'll get an early goal. Maybe not super early, but in the first half, and then Brighton will have to change their game plan and come out, chase the game, which they are more than capable of doing because they're a very good possession side, even with their young coach, right? Or maybe even because of their young coach. But it's in their modern DNA is to be a possession kind of team, right? But they're kind of like a poor man's. I was going to say poor man's Chelsea, but that's unfair because we haven't been great the last few seasons, obviously. Let's just say they're a poor man's Barcelona because, the tiki-taka, keep the ball, right? Or a poor man's Manchester City, you might think, right? But they're a very good team and they're probably going to finish in the top 6, right? 6 or 7, depending on how their new players gel. And that is one good thing for us is that they've spent a lot of money, over 100 million in the summer, but everyone has to gel, and they're not quite finding their feet yet. So I think it's a good time to play them. Our recent matches, we beat them 2-1 in the last game. We beat them 3-2 before that, 1-0 before that, and the last match before that at Chelsea was they beat us 2-1. Okay, so that was I remember that was we were pretty crap that day. But mind you, there's been a lot of pretty crap as far as Chelsea is concerned over the last 2 seasons. But yeah, anyway, so I think we're going to get a 2-0 win, and I suspect that though it'll be a tight game, I got a feeling it won't be as hard as maybe people are thinking, given, like I said, they have beaten Man United and they drew away to Arsenal and they are unbeaten. So if Chelsea are going to have a push, not at the title, because I don't think any of us expect us to have a crack at the title this season at least, but we definitely should be having a crack at the top 4. So if we are expected to have a crack at the top 4, these are the matches we have got to win. Now, every game is a must-win. I get that because it's the Premier League, right? You drop 3 points and suddenly you've gone down 4 places in the league or whatever. But these are the sort of games we have got to win against the teams that are likely to be pushing for that 4th Champions League spot. If we are assuming that it'll be Arsenal, City, Liverpool in whatever order in the top 3. Right, we're all kind of at the moment fighting for 4th. Although, like if you remember back to my early season prediction, I predicted we're going to finish 3rd. Right, so yes, 2-0 to Chelsea, and a more comfortable day at the office than maybe we were expecting.
Okay, then, that's all the news that's fit to print, and quite a bit that isn't. As always, thank you again for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and God bless, look after yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one.